There is a story I like to think about when I look up at the summer sky. It is a story about two people who fell in love, and about a river of stars that came between them. It is the kind of story that has been told for almost 1,000 years. And it is told a little differently every year. Tonight, I want to tell you a story from Japan. Long ago, in the sky above the world, there was a river. Not a river of water, a river of stars. You can still see it on a clear summer night, a pale band of light stretching across the dark. In Japan, people call it Amanogawa, the river of heaven. And on either side of this river, long ago, two people lived. They did not know each other yet, but they would. On one side of the river lived a young woman named Orihime. She was the daughter of the Sky King, and she was a weaver. Every day, she sat at her loom, a wooden frame for weaving cloth, and made beautiful fabric from threads of starlight. The gods wore her cloth. The clouds were made from it. The whole sky needed her work. She worked from morning until night. She did not have time for anything else. She did not have time to be lonely. But she was. On the other side of the river lived a young man named Hikoboshi. He took care of the cows of heaven. Every morning, he walked with his ox across the misty fields of the sky. He fed the animals. He brushed them. He led them to water. It was quiet work. Honest work. He was kind to the animals, and they loved him. But at night, when the ox slept and the fields were still, he would look across the river of stars, and he would wonder what was on the other side. The Sky King saw that his daughter was lonely. And so, one day, he brought the two of them together. They met at the edge of the river. She had never seen anyone like him. He had never seen anyone like her. They did not say very much. They did not need to. By the end of that day, they were in love. By the end of that week, they were married. They were so happy together. That is what everyone said about them. That is what they said about themselves. They sat together in the evenings. They walked through the fields of the sky. They laughed about small things. But love, when it is new, takes up a lot of space. It is hard to think about anything else. It is hard to remember the things you used to care about. Orihime stopped weaving. The loom sat empty in the corner of her room. Dust began to gather on the threads. Hikoboshi stopped tending his cattle. The cows wandered. They grew thin. Some of them got sick. The sky began to change. The clouds grew thin and ragged. The gods had nothing new to wear. The animals were not cared for. The two of them did not notice. They only saw each other. The Sky King watched all of this. From his hall in the heavens, he had wanted his daughter to be happy. He had not wanted the sky to fall apart. He waited. He hoped they would remember their work on their own. But they did not. And so, with great sadness, he made a decision. A decision he did not want to make. He would have to separate them. The river of stars grew wide, wider than it had ever been. It rose up between them like a wall of light. Orihime stood on one side. Hikoboshi stood on the other. They reached out for each other. But the river was too wide now. There was no bridge. There was no boat. There was only the river, endless, shining, impossible to cross. Orihime went back to her loom. She wove again. But the cloth she made now was different. It was beautiful, but quiet. It had something in it that her old cloth did not have. Tears fell onto the threads as she worked. She did not wipe them away. She just kept weaving. Hikoboshi went back to his cattle. He fed them. He brushed them. He led them to water, just as he had before. But every night, when his work was done, he stood at the edge of the river, and he looked across. Sometimes, he thought he could see her. A small figure in the distance, sitting at a loom. He could not be sure. But he stood there anyway. The Sky King saw how sad they were. He could not undo what he had done. But he could give them something. He told them, on one night each year, the seventh night of the seventh month, they would be allowed to meet. Just one night, out of 365. And so they waited. The seasons changed. The leaves fell. The snow came and went. The cherry blossoms bloomed and faded. The summer grass grew tall again. A whole year for one night. On the seventh night of the seventh month, Orihime stood up from her loom. She looked at the sky. The stars were different tonight. She could feel it. She walked to the edge of the river, and she waited. On the other side, Hikoboshi was waiting too. And then, from somewhere far away, they came. Magpies. Hundreds of them. Thousands. They flew across the river of stars and joined their wings together. And their wings became a bridge of birds, across the river of stars. They met in the middle. She had carried a year of waiting in her hands. So had he. They did not say very much. They did not need to. They just stood there, in the middle of the bridge, with the river of stars flowing beneath them. Together. Just for a little while. And then the night ended. And the bridge was gone. And they waited. Another year. There is one more thing. If it rains on the 7th night of the 7th month, the magpies cannot come. The bridge cannot form. And the two of them have to wait another whole year. In Japan, people still hope for clear skies on that night, for their sake. In Japan, the 7th night of the 7th month is called Tanabata. On that night, people write their wishes on small pieces of colored paper, called Tanzaku, and tie them to bamboo branches. Children, grandparents, couples, strangers. They all write something they are hoping for. And then they look up at the sky. And they think, quietly, about two people who are finally seeing each other again. I sometimes think about how long a year can feel, how much we can carry, waiting for one night. When you see that pale river of light across the summer sky, maybe you will think of them too. Sleep well. Good night.